both ways. Our people.
But if we go over there and we
roads.
stave out 2 or 3 telephone poles, we're gonna pay in CMP or Spectrum for their telephone poles.
Which brings me to another question. We don't use the wingman anymore in any of our trucks, right?
No. You got cameras now, take care of that.
Cameras are mounted in the cab,
Yeah, you got a big TV screen in there.
and it's not, he isn't varying from his sight forward when he's driving to see this.
No, it's
right
like a
there.
rear view mirror type
Take 'em
thing,
off.
that's it, and they can see all that.
I didn't know that. That's good.
Jump in that new truck we got. Yeah.
That's good. Okay.
Dawn? I, read through this a couple times, and I'm not sure if I really know if there's enough in there, or it's going to be up to the town managers or the public work coordinators to make decisions. For example, that was one, what town gets called? If Waterville needs somebody, their crew's down, they need 1 or 2 trucks. What's the order that they call them? And if they call, do they call Jeff? And Jeff said, I can't send a truck. And does it go to somebody else? And if everybody says no, are those issues? And what happens if we have to pay overtime for that person who goes over to Waterville?
Yeah, I probably should have had Jeff sitting in on this meeting, because, they've been meeting on this several times.
Yeah,
And
well,
I would
I
hope that they've got some of these details worked out.
Yeah.
Town managers were out of the loop on it, just like with the fire station. When they have a mutual aid, the town managers really don't have too much to do with it. They brought a document, they explained the idea to me. I talked with the guy from Winslow, talked to Bruce over in Fairfield. I haven't talked to Waterville yet, but everybody is very comfortable with this. And so they've hammered out, I think, a lot of these wrinkles that you're addressing. Jeff supports this 100%. So I have to trust that the department heads have done it right.
Well, I trust him, but
I should have had him in here,
Yeah.
but the thing is, I'm trying to keep my people out of these meetings as well, and
I wouldn't be surprised you might get a call from the state too, because they're lowering drivers anyway. And the guy that does the Belgrade Road out of that shop down there ends up out for COVID. They're gonna need somebody, they haven't got anybody.
yeah, we plowed that road before in certain circumstances.
I think that's the only road they do in Oakland, isn't it?
No, yeah, I think it is.
I second Dana's motion. Dana made a motion.
Yes,
that we do
Dana
this.
made a motion, all in favor? We're looking at item number 12.
Can I just interrupt? Will you give me the authority to sign this on behalf of the town council, because they only put 3 lines in there, it looked like a mess.
Yes.
Can I have a vote the motion on that?
But don't they have Fairfield twice in there, too?
No, we got that corrected.
Oh, you got that corrected?
Yeah.
Okay, the one I'm looking at is,
Yeah. So I'll sign it on behalf of the council if you are okay with that. Like
Yeah,
that.
my motion said that.
Second by Bob, all in favor? 2020 permits issued in construction in Oakland.
Dave has produced that. This year we've built 13 new homes, which is another good year. It's not quite up to the same par as we did last year, but it's not far off it. For a COVID year, it's pretty impressive. Permits so far is $8,512,000 worth of new taxable property that's come in, which again is a healthy amount for us. And a lot of these towns just aren't building new homes for it the way we are. And like I said, people have a choice to buy a piece of land in Oakland, Winslow, Fairfield, or Waterville, and they seem to be choosing Oakland, and which is good for us.
Is that top one on page 2 started yet? That $4 million one? That's a nice one.
That is
That's the warehouse.
FW Web.
Has that started?
Oh yeah, it's all done.
Oh, it is. I haven't even been by there.
Yeah.
That's great.
Item 13 is choose a street name for the top of High Street.
Okay.
List of them.
Down there, that one. 3 names were proposed. This is the road that's going in top of High Street. We talked with the police chief and the fire chief, and the fire chief made a couple of good points. The choice is Turtle Lane, Tackle Box Drive, or McKenna Way. He had mentioned that Tackle Box Drive and Turtle Lane sound like Camp Road, and maybe Turtle Way or Drive would be better. Number 3 is out because it's too close to the McKinney Road. So you've got number 1 or number 2. Number 3 is not going to work because of the resemblance of another road. And whichever one you like, Turtle Lane or Tackle Box Drive.
Doesn't matter to me.
Turtle's shorter.
Turtle, okay, Turtle Lane it is. Is there a motion or vote the motion on that?
Don made a motion.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
All right. Thank you.
We have to sign the sewer commitment.
Yeah, Dan's got that coming at you.
Moving around while Dan's doing that. Do you have anything tonight, Ted?
Not right now. I was thinking that the Legion was going to be there to do the update on the liquor permit.
No,
James and Chance.
that was incorrect.
Oh, okay.
And the agenda was corrected to say all they needed to have was a letter, a blanket letter to James and Chance. So it was nothing to do with their liquor license.
Charlie, do you have anything tonight?
I do. Drew King had asked me. It's relative to the property on, that you were talking about there on the lake on Willie Point. She wanted to be here tonight, but she is having some health issues and couldn't come. But she wanted you to be aware that the property, she doesn't believe also follows the ordinance for property maintenance. She said it's quite dangerous and is actually open and is not secured, so she's concerned about that as well, so she wanted you to be aware of that. And what else did she say? I'm sorry. But she feels that it should be condemned, she said.
Yeah, the camp's going to have to come down.
Yeah, so she wanted you to, and she, as an abutting property owner, she feels that it's going to start affecting her property values, and she is interested in purchasing the property.
Well, see, what's going to happen with that, her and I have been communicating, she may have shared that with you. What's going to happen with that is we'll use the same process to sell that property that we have with others, and probably we'll choose a real estate broker. Anybody that's going to be willing to pay that kind of money for that, they're going to be either rebuilding, tearing that camp down or whatever. And so that's, as far as property maintenance, now that we own the property and we're going to keep the property, we'll secure the property.
Okay, I'll let her know that. I think.
Dave, do you have anything? I do not. Bob?
No.
Go on.
Set.
All set?
Well, at this time, we'd like to enter into executive session of personal matters of 1 MRSA, section 4056A. All of you who came tonight, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Nice seeing you.
Good seeing you too. Hey, some period of time now, with the committee that we have at the transfer station, we could get together again and maybe redo, have a new goal on that is recycling. And see how we want to take and proceed with that.